All right, welcome back. Appreciate everyone's patience. Hopefully you had a chance to get up, stretch, grab a quick bite. Brock, thanks again. Great information. Very excited about our next presenter, Mark Massey. Before I do a formal introduction for Mark, just to reiterate a few housekeeping items. The sessions are being recorded and everything will be available at NAIFA's Business Performance Center website and shared with all the registered attendees. All attendees are in listen-only mode, so please, I encourage you to use the chat or the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. We've definitely budgeted some time in this instance for some Q&A, and I know Mark's interested in having kind of some active dialogue, and I know that he's going to kickstart the presentation with a little lighthearted fun. Formally, Mark is going to talk to us today about really knocking down the door to better position qualified retirement plans within the healthcare industry. And just a little bit about Mark. Mark is one of the most experienced retirement planning representatives in the country with more than 30 years in the financial and insurance industry. Mark has practiced as a pension and retirement plan consultant to advisors and clients all across the country. His experience extends today to plan implementation, compliance, investment, and service of various types of retirement plans. Over the years, Mark has a strong reputation for his knowledge, service, and integrity. He is diligent as he works with business owners developing strategic retirement plan strategies for themselves and their employees. He currently serves as the Vice President of the Southern Medical Association Service, Inc., which is headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama. And with our relationship with Mark, NAIFA has a formalized partnership with SMA. So I encourage everybody that is on the call today and others, you can access information about our partnership through our partners portal at naifa.org. So if you're servicing the healthcare industry, there's a lot of great thought leadership and education and programs that not just benefit you as advisors, but also your clients in the healthcare industry. So I encourage you to check that out. Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you and allow you to get started. So thanks for spending some time with us today, and we look forward to your session.
Thank you. You forgot to tell them I'm a Gemini. That's important.
What's that?
You forgot to tell them I'm a Gemini.
For the ladies out there.
Hey, hello, my name is Mark Massey, and I guess the best way to start is to say howdy partners, because we are now formally partnering with the you guys and gals, NAIFA advisors and insurance people. And the task that I have today is to help you to get into and sell qualified retirement plans to, I'm going to keep it at physicians groups for today, because if I keep focused on one set, then it'll all make sense as I go through the presentation. But a little bit about our organization. The Southern Medical Association has been serving the education needs of physicians for healthcare industry, primarily physicians, for over 100 years now. So we've got the 501c3 side that's function for the next 100 years is to educate physicians through, giving them CE credits. We have a monthly publication and a gigantic library full of podcasts. So they come to that side of the house for education. The side of the house that I run, the services side, is where we store the products, where we make the sales to fund the other side. So I've got over 24 products on the shelf, with the theory being when our physicians come to us, they can get all their business needs, whether if it's a health plan that we offer, property and casualty needs for their med mal or to insure their equipment that they have. We have an IRA program, we have individual disability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But today, what I'm going to talk about is the TPA, and we are a non-producing TPA. And what's different about our TPA than the other 25 products that we sell to physicians is it's the only product on our shelf that you don't have to be a member of. So our members are composed of physicians, nurses, medical students, residents, and some academia. And all the other products, that we offer, and by the way, we don't sell direct. I don't have a sales staff. we partner with people like yourselves. And that's the beauty of this, is you can come to us and you're not competing with us. You're just using the discounts that I've been able to broker through the different relationships that I've established with our vendors to help meet the needs of your doctors. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to focus on the TPA side. I'm going to focus on the medical side, on the physicians group side, because we're going to use them as an example. So if we're going to go in and we're going to sell 401ks to physicians groups, we got to get through the door first. So let's say our target, and I'm going to stay with this group the whole time. We've got a cardiology group that we want to call on. They have 7 docs, 35 other employees. So there's 42 employees working there. Perfect target for us. I want to get in there, and when I say I mean you want to get in there so you can do their, wealth management, their insurance needs, their deferred comp, all the stuff that's your bread and butter. But you got to get through the door somehow. And I position this to you that the best way to get through the door is the retirement plan. And here's why. First of all, I'm going to show you some survey results later that says this is the number one thing on their list is retirement. So that's important to them. Number two, and equally as important, is data. Data is king. And when you have the data that you need that tells you everything you need to know to sell the other products as far as census information. The hard part is getting in. So the first thing to know is, who am I going to be calling on? Because everybody wants to go after the doc. And the doc's great if you have a relationship with somebody that's a friend of yours or relative, and they can get you in. But they're hard to get hold of. I mean, we have an association with thousands of them, and it's hard for us to get hold of them. I can't imagine somebody trying to get in cold. But the person you need to get to, because all practices this size, all of them are going to have a non-physician running the business side, and they're called either the practice manager, the CEO, or the CFO. So we have another partnership with another association that is just practice managers. And this is where I get a lot of my data from. So here's what I know about them. They move around a lot. Okay. They're working their way up through the systems, and they want to get with the bigger practices. And when they come on, they want to have their presence known. Okay. So that creates two opportunities. The first opportunity is they probably don't understand the retirement plan. Matter of fact, they don't, and they need help. And that's where we can provide the assistance that I'm leading to. And second, they want to, they want to change things. They want to shake it up to make it look like their work is valued. And I get it. And that's fine. And that'll help you when they go to the next spot too. The next thing you need to know about them is they see doctors as a liability, not an asset. A lot of the same way that insurance companies look at their sales force. Those guys are a pain in the butt, but you're out of business without them. Okay. And it's the same way with the doctors as it is with salespeople. We got to keep them happy, or nobody else has jobs. So recruiting of these physicians is difficult, and particularly given this time, and it's been trending that way anyway. So they're all out there fighting for these physicians. So what they want to do is they want to create a benefit package to attract them. And this starts when they're in residencies programs and medical schools. I mean, it trickles all the way down. And I hope to have another session with you about working in the residence world, because if you get these docs when they're residents, and that's what we're doing as an association, then they're yours for life. Okay. So in securing the appointment, you need a hook. All right. And there's a lot of hooks, and you probably have your own methods, but here's the one I'm going to suggest to you today. Timing is everything. 2021 is what's called a reinstatement year. And I'm going to quit saying qualified retirement plan, just start saying 401k every time, because that's 95% of them, and it's shorter sentence, et cetera. So all 401k plans are going to have to be reinstated this year. Now, the deadline's actually April of 2022, but nobody's going to wait till the last minute. So what happens? Us as a TPA and all the other TPAs have to redo their adoption agreement. Now, for those who are new to the industry, the adoption agreement is the legal document between the employer and the employees that spells out the terms of the plan, who's eligible, what the match is, profit sharing, et cetera, et cetera. So, and they're going to have to pay for this new document. I mean, I'm a nice guy, but we're charging our clients too, because you have to do the work. So everybody this year is going to have to pay for a new adoption agreement that they don't know what's in it to begin with. Okay. So it creates an opportunity. So I would present to you, if I'm out selling direct, I would say to the practice manager, say, look, how would you like to have your plan reviewed by an ERISA attorney? I mean, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to redo your plan anyway. You're going to have to pay for it. So now's the time to pop the hood and look what's underneath, or let Dr. Massey look under the hood to see what's underneath to make sure everything's ticking right, because companies' needs change just like people's needs change. And most of the time, these plans are set up years ago. Nobody's made any changes. They're antiquated. It hasn't met the needs of their growth. I mean, all I do all day is read adoption agreements, read them. And you know, and there's 75, 80% of the time, I'm going to find something in there that's like, well, you know, if you looked at doing it this way, it might meet your needs. Oh, okay. So, I mean, this works. It's non-threatening. So what we offer to you as a partner is I have an ERISA attorney on staff. And I'm not talking about some 1099 thing. This is a full-time W-2 ERISA attorney that we have. Her name's Betsy. I've known her for 25 years. And she will review their document to make sure it's in compliance. Then she tells me, and I look for ways to turn that into a sales opportunity. Oh, okay, well, we could do, and I'm leading to where the biggest sales opportunity is. But anyway, you go to practice manager, look, you know, it's very non-threatening. How would you like to, you know, why would somebody not want their adoption agreement reviewed by an ERISA attorney at no cost? They're expensive. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, these are the survey results. So before I do that, I want to say something else about once you secure the appointment. So you're going to go do your fact finding. Now, here's where the system sometimes hits a bump in the road. Now, I have to say some things that make some people feel uncomfortable. But a lot of advisors think, I ain't taking anybody with me because I don't want, you know, I don't want them to think I don't understand everything. That's the wrong approach. Believe you me, I mean, I have a whole hundreds of these plans with physicians groups. They're expecting you to bring somebody with you because this is an expertise area. So you got two choices. You're either going to take a wholesaler from one of the companies, and I was one for 25 years, so I get it, or you're going to take the TPA. Now, I think I'm a better choice as somebody who's done both sides. And the reason why is the 401k wholesaler, and we'll just say it's the XYZ company, their interest is in selling product. So they're going to skew everything so they can be the record keeper, the person with the assets, the Transamerica's, Hancock's, I could go on and on of the world. And that's fine. We're Switzerland. We're neutral. I mean, I've got plans with every record keeper under the sun. I don't care who they are. To me, what sells these plans is plan design. I mean, the funds are a commodity and nobody knows what they're paying anyway. So the way to sell qualified retirement plans is to do it by bringing an idea in their plan document that better helps the participants. And I'm going to stay with the physicians group because that's what I'm here to talk about. But what I'm telling you is transferable to any industry. You want to take care of your highly compensated employees. So that's your choice. You can use either. I'm just saying I'm there to help you. This is why we're your partners, is so you can engage in myself and our team to help NAIFA members, our new brothers and sisters, our new partners, in helping you close these deals. Because I may be a TPA, but I'm still a sales guy at heart, and I do it every day helping people. Some of the people on this call, I've helped sell many plans. All right, back to the survey results. I'm big on numbers, man. Everything I get and talk about, I'm basing on numbers. So these survey results, this isn't just from one group. These survey results come from practice managers and physicians. And then I take them and I blend them together to get the rates. So I'm going to go through these. I know I'm going to run over. I want that 5 extra minutes the last guy got though. All right. First off, 45% say they don't understand their fees. That's a ridiculous number because I know for a fact it's double that or close to it, but they think they understand it. But either way, it's telling you right there, half the people don't understand their fees. Now, where does this create an opportunity? You should always ask for 3 things before you go out to see not just a physician's group, but anybody, but in this case, this cardiology group. You ask for a copy of the adoption agreement for us to do the checkup. The second thing you ask for is a copy of their fee disclosure, because they don't know what they're paying. So let's dissect it and tell them. And the third thing that you want to get is a copy of and the third one's kind of optional, but I think it's thorough. So thorough is always better. A copy of their current investments and where they are. I mean, it doesn't do any good to look at a $2 million plan if 1.9 million is target dates. So we want to see where the money's spread to make sure they're properly diversified. So the understanding the fees is and when you ask for these documents, they're not going to know where any of them are. So you might as well go ahead and say, look, your current TPA can shoot you a PDF with all this stuff on it, and you'll be, or they could send you the adoption agreement, the fees, and the record keeper can get you the investments. They usually know where the investments are. They never know where the adoption agreement is. Okay, next thing, and that's an opportunity to educate. I mean, you want to be a thought leader. Let me tell you how your fees are paid. And if I can get to it, I'm going to explain that at the end. I probably won't, but I've got a podcast. It's only 19 minutes that you can listen to that it tells you how to dissect fees. 65% are not having annual enrollment meetings. This one just blows me away. I mean, the least you can do if you're getting paid is show up once a year and do a meeting. But this creates opportunity too, because the majority of people who change do it because of poor service. And, you know, they'll often say, I'll say to them, well, you know, who's your advisor? When's the last time you talked to them? Oh, it's been 3-4 years. I always say the same thing. Well, since they're in the witness protection program, why don't we find somebody who can, you know, come in here and take care of your needs? So that's glaring there. I think some of those numbers are COVID, but that's unacceptable. Got to show up once a year. DOL requires that you show up once a year minimum to do a meeting. Excuse me. So that creates an opportunity on the service side. Third, 52% are not maximizing contributions. That's what I want to focus on now. So here's where, if you take one thing out of this meeting, and whenever I go to meetings, I say, I hope I can get one thing out of it. This is what I want you to take out of this session. When I look at documents, and again, we're sticking with the cardiology group, and we're looking at a group, we got 7 physicians and a practice manager. So we've got 8 highly comps, and then 34, or whatever I said the number, 34, 35 non-highlies. So they're going to have a safe harbor plan. Okay, so you can just about bank on that. If they don't, then you might as well bring the paperwork with you, because it's over. But they're, you know, everybody's pretty much figured out you have to have those because of discrimination testing. But what I see all the time, and this is where the opportunity is they're utilizing the match, whether if it's the 100% to 3, 50 cents on the next 2, or 100% to 4. And I contend to you, this is where the sale is made. Here's why. If you use the 3% non-elective as opposed to the match, you can double dip. And that's not a legal term. That's a Dr. Massey term. And double dip means that I can count that 3% non-elective contribution towards my profit sharing contribution. Okay. So I'm gonna play this out a little better. So I'm going to say the payroll at this group is $5 million. That would be about right. So under this scenario they have now, the doctors are deferred them. I'm going to assume the docs are over 50. The docs now are putting in their deferrals. They're maxing out with their, 26, and then they're getting their 4% match. They're getting the benefit of $37,600. If they're making the profit sharing, then they're putting in more than that. But most of them are just doing that and getting the 37.6. If we flip to the 3% non-elective, count that towards the profit sharing, get every doc and the practice manager, if they want him there, he or she there, we can now get them up to $64,500, which is $26,900 more in benefit. And when it works, and it usually works, because in order for, and what I'm talking about is using a profit sharing contribution formula called new comparability. And you probably heard of new comparability before. In order for new comparability profit sharing to work, you need an average age spread of everybody that you're trying to get to the max and everybody else by about 10 years. And in these physicians groups, they're almost always, the doctors are older, everybody else is younger, so it works great. So what we can do is we can class, and we just had some recent legislative changes that enable us to have as many classes as we want. But to keep it simple, I'm going to say that we have class 1, which are 3 docs that are owners, class 2 are 3 docs that are non-owners, and then we put class 4 as the practice manager, and then class 5 is everybody else. And we can get all of the people in the top classes are in group A to the 64.5. Let's say we give the other group, the first 2 groups to 64.5. We give the practice manager 10% of pay, and then we only have to give everybody else 5% of pay, of which we already funded 3. So it's only a 2% extra contribution at the end of the year. I call this taking money out of my right pocket and putting it into my left pocket. And the way I present it to them is say, look, would you rather pay Uncle Sam 35%, or would you rather give your employees 5% and have a vesting schedule on 2% of it up to 6 years? I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. So really what you're doing with this analysis is you're saying, all right, here's how you're doing it, and that may fit your needs, but here's another way to do it. We can put an illustration together that shows what every employee to the penny would get in order to maximize the physician. So that's a service we're offering to you, and my tip to you in order to get in the door, because you got to have something. I mean, they're not going to just have an appointment to, see you. You got to have something, some nugget to give them. Moving on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on integration, but it's getting popular. Here's what I'll say about it, integration. They probably have it already and don't know it. This used to be hard to get. Oh, we have to move the payroll. We're going to have to move the K to get integration. When I say integration, this is where the people can electronically have their deposits and match and profits. Everything sent electronically from payroll, as opposed to having to submit it. And then at the end of the year, they don't have to do census collection data because somebody's talking in the background. Anyway, but the way I would approach that as a value add is just say, who's your 401k with? Oh, it's with John Hancock. Oh, well, who's your payroll company? Paylocity. Well, they already have integration already, and they just don't know it. So you can bring value to them by setting that up, making their life easier. Next slide, please. All right, this is survey 2. So what we've been doing is asking people to, and again, we're sticking with the cardiology group as our sample prospect, to list in descending order the most important benefits to them. And this is how they fell out. Now, I want to be fair on this. Retirement plan was actually retirement planning, but that's better for you. I mean, the retirement plan is the biggest part of retirement planning, but you can take that extra piece that they're concerned about and tie your individual things on top of it, okay? The second most was the comprehensive medical plan. Well, you may not be licensed, or you may not, play in that sandbox, but you want to make these people sticky as possible. So you want to have a solution for everything. We, as the Southern Medical Association, have our own comprehensive medical plan, an association plan just for our members, and it's all people in their industry. So there's a solution, and you can bring it to us and you get paid. Medical malpractice. You're a doc, you got to have malpractice insurance. Most of you probably don't have a property and casualty license. Well, we do. We have medical malpractice products that could come to that. You can get a referral fee and we can help set them up, or go establish a relationship with somebody who does, just so you can take care of their needs. Group life and disability. Again, we offer it. This is the things they want and need. because when they're recruiting physicians, they got to have all this stuff. And if they have holes in some of this, you can fill in the gaps. CE credits, they provide it now for their physicians. Again, something we can provide. That's what we do on our brothers and sisters on the not-for-profit side. And then this last one, to me, this one's going to move up as more and more people get to understand this. And since I've been fortunate to be the beneficiary of one of these lately, I have a much better understanding of these type plans. And these babies are gold. And I think if they're properly explained to the practice manager, they will be funded, because it's probably, in my opinion, the best recruiting tool on here. A lot of this stuff, matter of fact, all this stuff, they have to have. The only one they really don't have to have is the deferred comp. But if they want to be competitive in the marketplace, they damn well better get one and start it, because that's going to be their differentiator, just like we look for our differentiators. Next slide, please. All right, Secure Act. So these are bullets. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. I'm going to go through them because they still tie into the thought leader, bring value, the things you need to do to be successful if you're going to play in this area, because they're going to know what they're doing. Again, these practice managers, it used to be just somebody's spouse who was doing the books, not anymore. All right, some changes this year. Simplification of safe harbor. Now, this just plays into my other theory. So the change they made here is they said, if you're using the 3% non-elective, you don't have to do the required notice. You have until 12/1 of the year to do the notice. So what does that enable me to do? And it doesn't matter, again, if it's a cardiology group or a car dealer, okay? It gives me up until December to know if I need the safe harbor or not. Because if I'm going to pass the test anyway, why do I want to commit to a match or why do I want to commit to the non-elective unless I'm doing the profit sharing? See how these things tie together? I mean, it's all about plan design. So anyway, the match still does require the notice. So you have to make a decision about the match before the year even starts. This increased tax credits, this is a big one. And, I'm not going to go into the way it was before. I'm going to tell you how it is today, because they got kind of cute with this. The way they did it is you get $250. These are for people who don't have a plan. So these people are still vacillating or sitting on the fence about starting a plan. No excuse anymore. Tax credits paying us, the TPA. So the way they do it now is you get $250 per non-highly compensated employee. Well, back to the cardiology group, what I say, they had like 35 of them. So you 35 times 250, whatever that is. The cap is $5,000. Obviously, that would exceed the cap. So the first $5,000 of your expenses, and you can take that over 3 years, is paying your TPA, because that would pay me, depending on what type it is, for at least 2 years worth of fees. So, and again, that's a credit, not a deduction. So $250 per non-highly comp, $5,000 max, auto enroll tax credit. They're encouraging, eventually this is going to be mandatory. This has been something that Congress has wanted a long time, and they just don't know enough about it to get it done, but it's coming eventually. So now they're trying to encourage it before they mandate it. And on auto enroll plans, they give you a $500 tax credit. If you were starting a plan, it would be in addition to the $5,000. If you already had a plan for over 3 years, didn't qualify for tax credits anymore, then you get a $500 credit if you convert to auto enroll. So those of you who are not familiar with auto enroll, that's a whole nother webinar. So we don't have the time to get into that. But I was pitching auto enroll before it was in vogue. I believe in it, not in the physicians industry, because you don't need it there, because those are all going to be safe harbors anyway. But there are certain industries that you get into, like we got a bunch of hotel groups. I mean, sometimes you get advisors that have silos in certain areas, and their auto enroll is extremely important because you have low participation. But anyway, love to talk to anybody about auto enroll at any time, because I believe in it. Penalty-free withdrawals for birth or adoption. They're just waiving the 10% penalty on a hardship if you have a baby or adopt. That's a good thing. And then they increase the age from 70 and a half to 72, which I think everybody on this call is probably aware of. Flip it, please. Next slide. I don't remember what's next. Oh, audits. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this either, but here's what you need to know. Because there is nothing worse than selling somebody a plan, not telling them an audit's coming if they are, had never done it before. In other words, they're creeping up on that number, and then they get the sticker shock of finding out they've got to do an audit, and these babies run between $10,000 and $15,000. So the way it works is as soon as you hit 120 eligible participants, not participants, in the K, that triggers an outside audit money grab. So they require that somebody other than you, an accounting firm, not yours, comes in and audits the plan. And, you got somebody in your office for 2 or 3 days going through all the books, and, then you pay $12,000, $15,000. And the only way to get out of it is if you drop below 100. So 120 to get in, 100 to get out. And then IRS audits, and that's, eligible employees. And again, as I get elderly, sometimes I forget too. And there's nothing like taking that call from a plan sponsor that says, you never told me I was going to have an audit when I crossed over 120. And so, oh, yeah. And sometimes they get amnesia about it too, but be sure that you have it part of your repertoire. And then IRS audits. And this is what I talked to Betsy about, our ERISA attorney, and the things they're looking for now, because they go through cycles of flavors of the month that, they like to look for. What they're looking at now is 2 things: not following your adoption agreement. And that's easy to catch somebody on if they don't know what's in it. And secondly, timely deposits. So those are the 2 things. You've got to follow the adoption agreement, and we can help with that too. Next, please. I'm sorry, I'm glimpsing up at my time because, sometimes I go on and on. Fees. So let's see, what am I? Got 5 minutes. I'll spend a little time on this. And then, well, you know what? I'd rather use it on questions. So let me say this about the fees. There's 4 fees inside a 401k. The TPA is I call it like a 3-legged stool with an extra piece to it. The TPA is the extra piece because it's a standalone. Everybody knows that because they pay people like me a flat dollar amount. And just a quick commercial. Other than, our 2 differentiators at TPA is, number one, I've got an ERISA attorney on staff that can help them with mergers, acquisitions, DOL audits, IRS audits, things, voluntary compliance programs, and basic plan design. And secondly, we're one of the few TPAs that don't charge per participant fees. We just have a flat fee that we charge, and people like that cardiology group. At 40-something employees, that could get expensive. But everybody can pretty well tell you what that is because they stroke a check that once a year and they pay that. The other 3 fees, the record keeper fee, the advisor compensation, and the investment company fees, are commingled together to create one fee that nobody knows what it is, because it's just, if you read the 10-page fee disclosure, that might give you a general idea, but I'm telling you from experience, they never really know what that is, because it's a combination of 3 fees, and it's deducted from the rates of return of the participants. So number one, the employer is not paying it anyway. Okay, it's coming off the rate of return. So a typical, just to take a $2 million plan, might be 115 basis points. And the way it would work is if you're earned 11.15 on your plan, you're netting 10. So they're almost invisible. But I've got a podcast where I go through these in great detail and show you at certain plan levels what they should be based on, your comp. And one thing about comp I've noticed, because I get the question a lot, but I won't get into that. So the podcast is on there. It's only 19 minutes, And that's what, there's no name that tune on it. So it's just 19 minutes of how to understand the fees. I would strongly suggest you look at it. Now I'm gonna have to put on my glasses, even though they tell me there's no clear 79 chats. Is that me, or is that still left over from the last time?
Well, there's a couple floaters. Plus, you got to remember, a lot of people were following up on the Name That Tune within the chat as opposed to the Google Doc. So I know your team behind the scenes are being rock stars and helping aggregate that for us. There were a couple questions though, Mark. Are you able to do plans in every state, or what are there limitations and any state limitations?
Yep, but we're in. Matter of fact, even though, and don't let me forget to announce the winner on this because I'll get going on questions. And so this, even though we're the Southern Medical Association, that's just, and we have a marketing company who's helping us with our branding. We've got members in all 46 states and we do plans in all 50. Okay, so let me answer the question by saying, yes, it's all 50. And even our membership is in 46 states. It's Southern because it started as a spinoff of the American Medical Association, 80 years ago or something. So we've just held the name, but the way we brand ourselves is we're Southern because of our hospitality and our service model. And people like dealing with Southern folks. If they're comfortable with us, we're real. So yes, all 50 states. Next question.
Sure. And I know Blake Gillies kind of answered some of this in the chat, but I just for the larger group. What about adding high income supplement disability coverage for high income employees?
Adding high, that sounds like Blake fed that for himself. Look, we've got a disability. We've got group disability, we got individual disability, but we've got a partnership with Emeritus, because I know Andrew Wren was on, I guess, 2 days ago. We have a partnership with Emeritus where all of our members, and look, I like sales. So if somebody that's not a member wants to take advantage of our individual disability discount, which is 15% off the premium through Emeritus, I'll waive their membership fee because, it just makes sense financially for us. So yes, we do have a individual disability offering through Emeritus at a discount. All I've done is gone around to different, whether it's telemedicine or coding or disability, whatever it may be, and have worked out discounts for products for our members.
Excellent. And if you're an advisor or agent, and let's say that you're trying to, crack the door to get into the healthcare space or make that more of a larger segment of your practice, do you have some just baseline advice to kind of get through the door on that, some just good recommendation of how to get started?
To get in the 401k business?
Yep. Within the medical community.
Oh, in the medical community. Yeah. So I'm going to go on the assumption that you don't know anybody there to get you through the door. Then you're going to have to bring value. And again, the timing is everything. This is the year where people either just get a bill from their TPA, pay for a new adoption agreement and send it in, or somebody brings it to their attention, whether if it's an email, a phone call, a text, however you could communicate to get to them to say, look, if you got to do this anyway, why not take the time to make sure it's done right? And I'm telling you, that ERISA attorney gets them. That will be the buzzword that, oh, okay, they obviously know, and she does obviously knows more than than the non-ERISA attorney. And so and when we review this, we're not going to be reviewing this like a home inspector or a shady car salesman. I mean, if there's nothing there, we're going to bless it and say, hey, you got a beautiful document, and let it go. And that happens 20-25% of the time. But the other time, we will find something. So the idea is for the younger people is to treat it like, well, certainly in the medical community, say, look, you do checkups, so do we. This is your 401k checkup. When was the last time it was checked up? Never, probably. So you talk in their language and make them feel comfortable that you want to do a checkup, because this is the time, just like you get regular checkups for, I said, cardiologists, they're going to make you come once a year. Your 401k should get a checkup too, particularly in a year where the rules have changed and the documents have to be redone.
Excellent. And Mark, appreciate all your insight and the time that you spent with us today. Great presentation. Love the icebreaker. In follow up from that, has your team, has Randy or someone from your side shot you a text with who the winner was? I believe that might have been the game plan.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
sure.
used to doing these live. The winner is Brian Holtz, Holz. I hope I said that right, Brian.
You know, I'm going to be honest. Thank goodness,
You know him?
because I do. Brian is our national secretary. He's going to be going through the chairs to become NAIFA's national president. He is a just a lively personality, but he is a music enthusiast to his core, and rocks out pretty hard. So that does not surprise me, and we'll make sure that we get the dots connected for you to get him the gift card. So very
Well,
cool.
let
We
me
appreciate
say
that.
one else thing too. It was a tie, so we had to go to the tiebreaker, and he tied with Ivan Garcia.
All right. Well, I don't know Ivan. Sounds like a great straight shooter, great guy, and knows his way around the music industry. So I guess it came down to Elvis.
Oh, and I also I had asked our ERISA attorney to text me at the end to make sure, because I get to rambling, to make sure I didn't say anything incorrect, because I do want to be precise. There was one, and then she corrects me on this all the time, and it's a bad habit of mine. It's the restatement process, not reinstatement process. Okay.
Thank you.
So you're
Thank you.
restating your document, not reinstating. And I don't know why I get so hooked up on saying that every time. So clarifications, kind of like they do at the end of pardon the interruption on the sports show. They come back at the end and say, okay, here's what he said that was wrong.
Yeah, they
live
keep
with that.
Kornheiser and Wilbon in check.
Yeah, right. You've seen it. I can live with that mistake.
Well, Mark, thank you. And again, for everyone on here, NAIFA has a partnership with SMA, really just kind of getting started. But if you visit the partner portal at NAIFA.org, you'll find some great information of the benefits of that relationship, thought leadership, and really direct access to Mark. So I'm sure he's happy to entertain emails, phone calls, keep him busy as we do as well as we can to serve the medical industry and healthcare industry. So Mark, thank you for your time. Guys, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be back in about 10 minutes with Stacey McMahon from Pacific Life. We're going to continue on the theme of retirement plans. Her presentation's in coordination with the Society for Financial Services Professional, another great NAIFA partner. And so we'll be, again, quick bathroom break, a quick stretch, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. Look forward to seeing everybody.